Good afternoon, traders and investors. Welcome back to the #1 show in the intraday that covers all the headlines and gets to 2 interviews, stock market movers. Excited to dive into today's show. We got a great one. Topics are going to be new bull market. Are we in one? Initial jobless claims, Coinbase sector analysis. We'll take a look at what was hot and what was not. Lucid earnings, Fisker, Penn, Clorox, Lilly. We got a lot to talk about in the earnings stocks. There's many more that we'll get to touch. Mullen Technology interview today. Oil and natural gas. There's a lot to talk about. Zunaid will be joining me to do that interview on Mullen coming up at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. Let me know if that's what you guys are here for in the chat by just throwing up a Mullen in the chat. We'll see what you guys are here. I'm going to get through some of these headlines, then we'll get through some of these interviews. Let's go ahead and start diving in. Welcome to Stock Market Movers with none other than Money Mitch.
It's time for Money Making Mitch. When investors need a story, we're going to the moon. Welcome to Money Mitch, where story is everything. I'm here to find you the next opportunity. It's all about the green hands. Now we all know the bull market is here to stay. Money Mitch.
Get it through? Can I get it through? I didn't get through all of them. Oh, I was trying to get through all of them. I see you guys out there. Don't worry. You guys are seen. Look at that. Can I catch up to you guys? Let's see. Dun, dun, dun. Almost there. Get into it. Mullen in the chat. I see you guys on out there. Definitely smash the like button. Let this get to all the Mullen Nation out there. I caught up to you guys. And there you guys go, taking over again. There you go. We'll get to that interview coming on up. But the first thing, we're asking ourselves is, are we in a new bull market, right? The definition of a bull market and what they wanted to tell us for a bear market was a 20% move from either the lows, or for the bear market from the highs down towards the low, or in this case that we're looking at the bull market from the lows to the high. Let's take a look at the Qs overall, right? You guys can take a look at maybe the NASDAQ for this outlook, but just take a look at it here, right? Let's take a look here. I see you Mullins in the chat taking on over. We'll see what happened today. Let's take a look here at the Qs here. Let me take away the topic so you guys don't see that there. Qs from the bottom towards the top, right? If we just take a measurement here, let's say from that 16th low there down towards 269 up to where we are right now, where it's up about 19.79%. They say 20% means that new bull market. So I'm keeping a close eye on these levels to see if we can close up there towards, let's say, 325 on the Qs and new bull market, right? We'll see what happens there. Definitely it's something interesting to talk about. Now, today we did get initial jobless claims. So if you guys weren't able to catch that, it hit 260,000. That's for last week. This really running into the really anticipated number that's going to hit tomorrow. Pay attention for that, guys. That's going to be non-farm payrolls report that comes in at 8:30 tomorrow. So you could see the market swinging, and that's for July, of course. But let's get out of the overall market. You guys can see right now we were trading on down here. Let me take a look at the 15-minute. Looks like we're hanging out right here. I talked about early on live trading. That's a show that we do every single day at 9:05 a.m. Eastern, where we trade live for you guys. We were calling out the 415 level as a level of resistance, and you guys can see still rejecting to get back above that 415 right now. We'll see what happens in the overall market. Now, I do want to get into our topic on today. One of the biggest movers was a stock that just started ripping in the pre-market. I tried to catch the news as I was wondering. I saw the chat, just what's going on? Coin. Well, this is what happened here, and it was released from a tweet, so it was interesting to see that really get the stock moving here. But let's take a look at Coinbase as it definitely ripped off. All right, so if you take a look here at Coinbase, shares are trading higher after the company announced a partnership with none other than BlackRock. Coinbase Prime will provide crypto trading, custody, prime, brokerage, reporting capabilities to BlackRock's Aladdin clients. And so one of the things that you guys got to is understand that what it really does is this gives them a partnership to manage the Bitcoin exposures directly in existing portfolio management. This is what I was a little bit confused on. I was thinking that it was more related to, of course, it was the most mentioned named on Reddit's Wall Street Bets on Thursday. So I think that that had a little bit to do with it. Of course, it's highly shorted interest. And then, of course, Kathy kind of sold this a little bit early, I would say. But nice jump up there in coin up there towards 116. Now has been holding sideways around this 92.13 level. That's what I'll try to see it kind of hold here, then make its way back on up. We'll see if it's able to make that next leg up on the hourlies or in coin by the end of the day. But let's get out of the story of the day. We'll see what happens on coin coming on up. Let's get into what was hot and what was not. This is the segment where we talk about sector analysis. This is what I really love to do. My favorite sector on the day. I love to work backwards in stocks, not looking for the stock that's making the biggest move, but starting with the sectors and working my way from the sector to industry, and then going into the micro, going into the stocks in that industry to find the plays that are on out there. Let's go ahead. Let's dive on in. Today, what was hot? Of course, I don't know if you guys saw, but it was basic materials, industrials, and utilities that led us on up. Basic materials, I always pay attention from the percentage from the open, not the overall. It's the percentage change since the open daily. Basic materials getting us a nice push. Where did this come from? A lot of it came from that silver push. Why is silver up? Well, weak dollar there. You see PAAS getting that nice lift back up through that 2046. This is an important level. You can see it on the daily. It was acting as resistance for a little while. We got a little retrace there on Wednesday. Boom, right back up there from the 975s up there. Now it's about a 5.8% move. You could also watch AG. AG, cleaner breakout here through the 780s, getting on up there towards the 8. Going to be an interesting stock to watch. Also, you saw gold take some lift. Very similar trading with silver and gold. If you guys were watching right here on Stock Market Movers, it was Giles Coughlin that was on just last week talking about this specific trade, that you could see the dollar get weak, silver be the stronger play versus gold, and getting that lift. We're going to have to bring Giles back on here, but let's take a look at what else was strong. In industrials, let's take a look here. So industrials, you see infrastructure operations, but there's really only one stock here. It was ACA, getting that huge lift up today, about 14%. But let's take a look at some other plays here. Like we can take a look at some airlines having a good day today. You guys can see this was kind of more of a different airline that you guys probably know, GOL. But there was still some strength there in American Airlines coming on back. DAL coming on back, and it's interesting to kind of watch these. These are starting to turn around here, the airlines. It's something that I'm going to keep an eye out to see if they can start getting some lift. Of course, we know JetBlue's recent acquisition in Spirit has a lot of bottoming there around the 820s. You guys can see here, a lot of bottoming, 810s, 820 area. Let's see if this can start getting back up there towards the 9. Interesting play there, JetBlue. All right, let's get out of industrials. Let's go to utilities. Utilities, what was up? Independent power producers. So you guys, if we line this up by some high caps, you guys can watch like CEG having a decent move on up. NRG is one that definitely got some lift today. Look at that nice little lift. But of course, watch some of the major players and see if they can kind of hold on. Duke coming back here a little bit. NEE was one that was doing well. Nextera Energy up there towards almost 88. We'll see if these can kind of hold on here as we're getting some lift. Also seeing a little bit of turnaround, but XEL was also getting that lift. Now we are seeing a little bit of a drag. I wonder if the SPY or we're getting some weakness coming in here into the utilities. I can take a look at the sectors overall, and you can see how we really started dropping off there around 1210 and now have continued the decline there. But what was not hot? What was not hot was energy leading us on the downside. A lot of this based on what was released yesterday about the crude kind of inventory surprise there. But something to keep on watch is how you're going to see these trades develop. Are we going to get another lift in, let's say, like ExxonMobil to get back up there? And are we going to get back towards 100? That's a question that I'll be asking our guests later on today. Around 1:50, we will be having on an energy expert just for you guys to talk about specifically some oil energy plays. And I also will take a look at some natural gas play. As you saw, UNG come back a little bit today, but still in the red a little bit here. Getting out of energy, looking at real estate. What was getting dragged in real estate? It looks like office REITs were getting dragged. DLR turning around here. ARE turning around. And there's a lot of topping in this real estate. I'm going to keep watch here. I know I've been watching more of the home construction stocks to see if this is going to turn around. And you can see there's a lot of topping around here. Let's see if this wants to get back above the 61, or when's it going to really start cracking and coming back down is one that I'll keep watch. All right, let's get out of what was hot and what was not. I'm going to catch up with the chat. I know that I go a little bit fast. Now we're going to get into our earnings. I see you Mullens in the chat. Definitely keep it going. I see the love that you guys are putting in there for them. We'll be having them on just at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. We're almost there, guys. About, 17 minutes away? And in about 15 minutes, I'll be having Zunaid join me. He's going to be running the interview, but we'll take a little look into the stock before we dive on in. Keep having your questions thrown up there. I know that Zunaid is going to be catching some of your questions in the chat. So if you want your questions asked, you have to throw them up in the chat, and you got to throw us at least a thumbs on up. So let's see if we can get those thumbs on up to 500 here. Get it on up there, break the resistance, and keep pushing that like button. All right, let's go ahead. Let's keep going. Let's get into some of these earnings stocks that I got to get into. I know we won't be able to get into all of them, but I wonder if there's any Lucid dreamers out here. Lucid over Mullen? Let me know what you guys think. I'm going to go lean a little bit more on that Mullen today, because if you take a look at Lucid's numbers, and we'll go in through here, let's take a look at Lucid for the Lucid dreamers out there. Getting a little bit of a bounce back here on the 15. You can see we're trying to come back towards that 19 here. Let's take a look at the Lucid numbers, and it was really surprising to see their production. But EPS coming in here at a loss of 33 cents. The expectation was 36 cents. Sales were at 97.3 million, missing the 145.49 million estimate. Big miss there on the sales. A lot of this due to what? Only delivering 1,405 vehicles in the first half of the year. Remember, the original forecast for the year for Lucid was 20,000. So this is what we kind of were expecting to hear. It's some higher numbers here, right? Well, they revised their 2022 outlook here once more to 6,000 and 7,000 outlook. Well, if we think about it, right, will they be able to do like 5,600 more vehicles in the second half than they did in the first half? I don't think they're going to be able to reach that 6,000 level. But you guys in the chat, let me know what you guys think. Do you feel Lucid will be able to reach that 6,000 or 7,000 vehicles after only delivering 1,405 vehicles here? Well, Peter Rawlinson, CEO and CTO of Lucid, said that our revised production guidance reflects the extraordinary supply chain and logistical challenges that we encountered. So we'll see what happens in Lucid. You know, I'm going to go ahead and go on a limb that we don't get back here towards the 2026. We're going to see probably a crackdown back towards that 14. We'll see what happens in this one, as I've been watching Lucid, and that 2026 is an important level. As you saw it yesterday, went through it, 2075, and couldn't hold on. All right, let's get out of Lucid there. I know that you guys are probably blowing up in the chat. Let me see what you guys think there. No Lucid. I see you guys. Lucid good too? At least there's some Lucid fans. Some Lucid fans on out there. We'll see what happened there. But yeah, definitely Lucid is struggling there. Mullen over Lucid, some people are saying. We'll see what happens. All right, let's get out of Lucid. Lucid's earnings were interesting. Of course, keep an eye on Fisker FSR. I don't know how you guys feel about Fisker, but they had earnings also here coming in at a beat of the loss of 41 cent estimate, coming in at 36-cent loss. Fisker did tweet about that they got a digital finance platform offering seamless and convenient loan purchase options for Fisker customers. We'll see what happens there in Fisker, if it's able to continue kind of changing the trend off of that $9 and hold the 10. We'll see if it's able to start pushing on up. Let's get out of Fisker. Let's go towards the next stock, which is going to be Penn National Gaming. Let's take a look at this stock. Full disclosure, I am out of my swing trade in Penn. I took it before this, going into it, because I expected a little bit of a pop for the NFL season. Now, I did miss this pop that we had today early on. I was looking to see if we were going to get some bottoming action and come back, and it just couldn't hold on here. So I'll delete these for you here, and let's pay attention to see what happened in Penn's earnings here. EPS coming in here at 15 cents, missing the 56-cent estimate. Sales at 1.63 billion, beating the 1.61 billion estimate. Penn National did reiterate its revenue guidance and also announced a name change to Penn Entertainment versus Penn National Gaming, what you see there. All right, let's get out of Penn National Gaming. Let's go to MGM, which was the next stock in the casino area that did have earnings. Their EPS at 3 cents, not comparable to the 26-cent estimate, but sales at 3.3 billion, beating the 3.04 billion estimate. For me, MGM needs to spin off MGM Bets. I'm one of those degenerate gamblers. I do like to use MGM Bets, but I wish they could spin that off. Separate the gaming with the resorts and the casinos, and that to me would seem sexier than just MGM overall, but to each his own. All right, let's get out of MGM. Let's take a look here at Clorox as we keep going with the earnings. This is what we do here a lot of the times, is we're running through all the headlines and then getting to the interviews. So stay tuned, guys. We're almost there. 12 minutes till we get to the CEO of Mullen Automotive. I know that you guys are excited to dive on into that. Let's keep going here with Clorox earnings. Of course, this is the value stock, and it seems like growth trade is back and value trade is just getting pummeled here. EPS at 93 cents in line, sales at 1.8 billion, missing the 1.86 billion estimate. And now they see full year 23 adjusted EPS at $3.85 on the low end and a high side of $4.22 versus the $4.11 estimate. So lowering that lower end a pretty significant amount away from that estimate. We'll see what happens in Clorox. These have been dropping fast, and a lot of these are value plays that people are trying to hide in, and it doesn't look like there's value in it anymore. All right, let's go. Let's keep it going here. I do see the chat ripping on up there. Everybody wants to talk about the Mullen. I see some people mentioning Mullen to 20. Don't worry, we're almost there, guys. Let's keep it going. You want to talk about AMC's recent move? I don't mind taking a second here away from the earnings to take a look at the AMC. AMC is one that I've been talking about. I did have on a while back here, Matt Kors, and that was just when we were up here, and I was looking for a move through 20. I've talked about it in the last couple of days. If we can get through 20 on AMC, we could actually see this really rip. And so now we're trying to make our way. I actually drew this box a little while back. If you see here, it says created on the 3rd, but I've been watching this level. We're trying to get into this area because if we can, I feel that we can come back and attack those highs that you see to the left. We'll see if we're able to get back there, but definitely AMC has been doing pretty well. Let's get some likes, guys. If you guys can get it on up there. If you guys want Mullen, if you guys want me to get off and talk about Mullen, smash up those likes. Let me see where we're at on the like game right now. If I see 800 likes, I'll even stop talking about earnings stocks. We can get strictly into what's going on in Mullen, but hit it on up, guys. I only see about 162. Let's see where we can get it. All right, let's go ahead. Let's get out of AMC. Let's take some more earnings stocks on out there. We'll see what happens. Let's see. All right, let's go into some of these earnings stocks. I'll see if I get the likes enough, but let's keep going. Eli Lilly is one that we can take a look at. That's LLY, and you can see how this turned around, a drug manufacturer. We've had some good biotech, But really, the major drug manufacturers have not been doing well, because if you look, it's been in biotechs like Moderna. Moderna, I talked about this easy setup on the daily. It looked really pretty for that next leg up. And look how Moderna has really just taken off, now up there towards 194. We're going to continue watching this, but definitely Moderna has been a really strong stock in biotechs. Let's go back to Lilly and explaining drug manufacturers here. They came in here at a miss of $1.25, missing the $1.69 estimate. Sales at $6.49 billion, missing the $6.7 billion estimate. Eli Lilly lowered their guidance, and also you can see it here in their adjusted full year 2022 EPS at $7.90 on the high end, $8.05 versus the $8.08 estimate. So even on their high end, they're not even getting up there towards that estimate anymore. So definitely a downturn there in Lilly, and you could see it was coming back here in the pre-market, and right at the open they started kind of flushing it back. We'll see if it's able to get back there towards the lows there, towards the 296 by the end of the day. All right, let's keep it going here. How we doing out there, chat? I see you guys keep on going. I see the Mullen talk out there. We're now up towards 296, 300. If we get to 800, I'm going to stop talking about biotechs and get right into Mullen Automotive. We want to see you guys hit the like. Smash it on up, guys. Definitely. Let's see if we can get it going here. All right, let's continue going here. Eli, how did we get out of Eli? We'll talk a little bit about Baba. Let's take a look here. All right, Baba coming on down here after their earnings, of course. Adjusted EPS at $1.75, beating the $1.52 estimate. Sales at $30.69 billion, beating the $30.5 billion estimate. You guys can see this actually came down here, and it's been one to kind of keep watch, right? I drew this red line because it's right off like that 100. Wanted to see if it could get back above there, but now it's looking like it's using that as resistance, and looks like it might get dragged right back down here towards these lows. Of course, this really popped starting off with the DD push, and then China news just kind of started deteriorating. And of course, we're all concerned about what will happen in China due to Nancy Pelosi's visit. Will there be retaliation sooner or later? Is something that we're all keeping an eye out open as investors. All right, let's keep on going. It's almost to that time. Zunaid should be joining me in just about a minute or two as we get into that interview at 1:30. I know you guys are excited. Let's see where we're at there. We're at 353, almost to that 800. You guys can kick me off real quick to smash up that like. All right, let's get out of Alibaba. Let's get to Wayfair. Let's take a look at the Wayfair. Who's bought something on Wayfair in the last 12 months? Let me know, guys, in the chat. I want to take a little poll to see if you guys are buying from Wayfair. I know I haven't bought in the last 12 months, but I definitely have bought some stuff from Wayfair before, whether it be rugs or some kind of, it could be even, I've even bought chairs from Wayfair. All right, let's see this come back on up there. It's hanging out there at the VWAP around the 63s. It's actually not a bad looking play here. Starting to go sideways and holding on here. Wayfair's miss here at $1.94, missing the estimate of a loss of $1.89. Sales at $3.28 billion, beating the $3.19 billion estimate. We'll see if Wayfair can come on back. This one has been pummeled after, of course, the kind of inflation may remove. This was at 350s, now at 63s, but it has a lot of bottoming on this chart down here towards the 47s and 45s as we see it starting to come back up. It'll get really interesting if it can get into this gap zone up here around 77. All right, let's get out of the earnings talk. I still got some other ones that I can touch, but I know what you guys are excited about. You guys are excited about what's coming up at 1:30. Let's go ahead. Let's get out of Wayfair. I'm going to bring on Zunaid in a second. He'll let me know when he's ready to go. And we'll take a look here before we dive on in. And I would love to even just talk about this with Zunaid when he comes on. It's just the overall outlook of the theme of EV, right? And I've talked about this as being a generational opportunity, really, because we're not many times are we going to get bear markets, right, to bring some discounts to opportunities that we could have looking forward, especially if you have a long-term outlook, right? If we have a 5, 10-year, 15-year outlook, we all know where we're heading in EV. You guys hear governments around the globe talk about how, hey, at the end of the day, this is where we need to go to. We need to get our way away from the gas guzzlers, the oil trade, and we need to work our way into, of course, clean energy. And so I think this is a great opportunity at moments in time when you're getting stocks to come on down to get them at what I would say is a discount. But let's go ahead. Let's bring on Zunaid here. Let me know if you're ready, my friend. Thumbs on up. All right, let's bring him on here, guys. Smash the like if you guys are excited. Look at Zunaid. Oh, looking fly, my friend.
Hey, you got
everything.
to. You got to. I mean, look, you pay attention to the chat. We've got all 1,500 viewers, possible investors, already investors in the company as well. I know it's been a minute since we talked to David, and really interested to hear what he has to say, man. So many updates to ask from the past about the present and the future as well. Expanding in Detroit with the EV situation. I just saw that PR from a couple of days ago. So, I mean, you can tell with the audience that we have here today, investors are invested in this stock right here, mentally, physically, emotionally, whatever you want to call it. They want to know more about this company.
Definitely. And just to answer a quick question from the chat, yes, he got a haircut specifically for this interview, but we're ready to knock it on out. I was talking about the theme overall, and I don't know how you feel about this.
Well, hang out with me for a few minutes, and then I'll bring David in.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know how you feel about this, Zunaid, but how do you see the theme in overall in EV? I mean, I still remember, like, if we look back, like, let's say 10 years, it wasn't that many EVs in the parking lots. Now it's like every corner you see an EV.
And it's a great thing to see as well, because this is kind of like EV's still the cool thing to have. Now it's obviously more accessible to the common man like you and I, right? Where it's like, hey, you don't need to have hundreds of thousands of dollars to be able to purchase an EV. We started off with a little bit of hybrid. It's like, hey, half this, half that. Now you've got folks that actually have gone full electric, and it's great to see as well. But I still feel like we're still ways away. At least I think so. David may disagree with me here, and he can tell me so, but I feel like we're still ways away from having as many electric charging stations as gas stations, obviously ways away from that, but even to get close to it, I think we're far apart from that situation there as well. But it's companies like Mullen and everyone else that's in that space that can make that possible. And look, it's not always about who comes to the market first. To me personally, my bias, who does it better, right? I mean, Apple wasn't the first one to come with an iPhone.
I do agree with you that we need some infrastructure moves to kind of support the move. But one thing that I'm really looking at, and I think it's an important thing, is autonomous and how this is going to play into the move of EV. Because I feel if that can get corrected, and then we can also start pushing towards the infrastructure, it's going to be kind of it's a done deal, right? I mean, at the end of the day, what we need are tax credits to try to help the consumer get into these higher expense vehicles. We need some infrastructure, and we also need a little like kind of technology incentive, because I don't know about you, Zunaid, but if I could sit back, relax, and let the vehicle drive and feel confident about it, I more than likely will do so, because there's other things to do, right? I mean, you and I are always busy looking at what's next. So this is definitely a benefit that's coming, I think. And if this happens together with the movement, that's why I call it a generational moment.
So many friends were like, hey, I'm going to buy an EV vehicle because I'm going to get a tax break, or I'm going to get a tax credit, and this, that, and the other. So yeah, it's definitely motivation as well. But I will say, look, we've got almost 2,000 folks in the chat. Make sure you spam up whatever questions you want, right? I'm absolutely going to be paying attention to it. I know Mitch is going to help me out as well. I've got my own line of questionings based on the research that I've done and the interview that David did with Spencer a few months back. So I believe, David, if you are ready to get the show on the road, you just give me a thumbs up with that smile I know you've got right there, and we will get this show started, Mitch.
All right, I'm going to get on out of here. I'm excited to hear all about the MULN 5, but I'll let you do that, Zunaid. Do your thing.
I appreciate it, man. And yeah, look, it's interesting. Someone in the chat said it looks like I'm getting married. Someone said I'm a criminal. So clearly we've got a whole bunch of spectrum here. But regardless, here we go, David. I'm going to bring you up. David, what is going on? CEO of Mullen Automotive, ticker MULN. I feel like you don't need an introduction because they're here to see you and they're excited to hear what you have to say, David.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be on your show.
I appreciate that. Look, I'm going to start things off with the annual meeting that I believe, unfortunately, you weren't there. There are a lot of rumors, right? Look, I follow different threads and I follow, FinTwit, because I want to make sure that people get the answers that they want. let's just start off there. Why weren't you there? What's going on?
Well, I'm back from the dead.
So you found a cure for that one.
Yeah, I caught a little bit of a bacterial infection, spent a little time, in the hospital, and found out after, some, blood cultures that took about 4 or 5 days to get back that I basically had E. coli, some food poisoning, and that was pretty much it. But, I'm back and back in the saddle again and ready to go.
Yeah, I bet. Well, I'm glad you're feeling better. As someone who just recently learned how to cook, I know it can be a little antsy with the food poisoning and all that. So I'm glad you're feeling better. And I remember you saying you're always working tirelessly for the investors and everyone watching here as well. So let's kind of get right to it. Tell me about any updates that we need to get. You had a couple of press releases, right? So let's start there. What updates do you have for the viewers at home regarding your company today?
Well, we're doing extremely well. We're growing at a fast pace. We're moving quickly to capture as much of the workforce that's available out there to push our initiatives forward, specifically as it relates to all the different utility vehicles from a Class 1 all the way up to a Class 5. Our first offering, obviously, will be that Class 1 van, and we're very excited about it. We're in the process right now of testing. We announced maybe about a month ago we were going to integrate a larger 80 kilowatt plus hour battery pack into that vehicle to give it the best range in its class in the market. And we've done that, and we're testing it now. So we're pretty excited about that. We think that's a game changer for us, and we're working diligently to fulfill some of the obligations we have in order to get this car into the market to potential customers that have committed to being the first to purchase this vehicle. So we're working diligently to get that to happen and put it behind us. We're excited about that. We expanded our facilities down into Irvine, California. We're at 100 Technology Drive down there. We've been hiring design engineers. One specific person we're pretty excited about is a guy named Andre Hudson. The guy's amazing. Probably in my opinion, one of the best designers to come around, for a long time. And we're very fortunate that we just added him to our team. This guy is amazing. Interior, exterior, thinks out of the box. He's not your typical design guy that's constrained by what the OEMs had established over the last 2 or 3 decades on taking the path of least resistance and delivering a product that maybe the consumer doesn't want or isn't excited about. We're going to go way out of the box and touch the spectrums of the greatest potential for creativity and delivering some of the sexiest, best looking performance vehicles from across the board, not just the MULN 5, but I spoke to him a few days ago and I told him, I said, Andre, I want the MULN 1, the Class 1, to be the best looking utility vehicle, last mile delivery vehicle on the road. And he laughed at me. He says, yeah, let's make it happen. So we'll add some aesthetics to it. It doesn't have to be boring. It's going to have great performance. It's going to have some of the best safety features we know now, with the 3 airbags that the vehicle has, and now the systems that where the driver can have a computer workstation, a phone, being able to communicate in whatever manner that his dispatch would want him to operate in. We're adding these next generational type of systems into these vehicles, but hey, why not make it look nice, right? Right, aesthetically, let's work on trim, let's work on interior, exterior, and then we're also working on some next generation technology that we're integrating with partners of ours in different parts of the world, and we're going to announce things very soon that are going to be very cutting edge, meaning nobody is doing these types of things, and I can with certainty we're trying to make the driver in a last mile vehicle as comfortable as possible so he doesn't have to stop in between delivery points.
Sure.
We're trying to offer features in the vehicle that will make that possible, one of which I don't want to get into great detail about because it's going to be a
Sure.
PR that's going to be coming out momentarily, but many technology additions to not only the utility vehicles, but the MULN 5 and all of the vehicles that we're working with that will integrate across multiple platforms, but really to give the occupant the convenience of being able to not have to stop. And that
Sure.
could mean, a long travel, taking the MULN 5, going from, as an example, from Los Angeles to Utah, being able to maximize your time. So we're looking at very creative, very out of the box technologies that, one, are not just ideas but items that go into vehicles that are not only tested but certified, homologated, so that they can be used. And so we're excited. We're excited about that. We're also very excited about the path that we're taking in expanding our outreach into the Detroit market. We're talking about where it all started, right? We're talking about Michigan. We're talking
Sure.
about getting out there into Troy, into Pontiac, into what I call the automotive corridor. If you take a look at Tunica, Mississippi, which is our factory.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the expansion that you had in the PR in the Michigan area. Now, you said you'll have a PR coming out momentarily. Momentarily is open interpretation, right? So, are we speaking in terms of this month? What's
multiple a gluttony of PRs that are going to come out? We're timing them so that we want to make sure that all the I's are dotted, the T's are crossed, and we have a lot of stuff to announce. We kind of deliberately have been quiet for a while, but we're not going to be quiet anymore.
So let's talk about that if we can, right? I know you like sports, you like the sports analogy. The way that I saw your last interview with Spencer was kind of like the 1st and 10, right? And then on June 3rd, you said you had a pilot program that delivery was made on May 12th. You said the customer was happy, and you'll share more details by the end of the quarter about, order size, all that other good stuff. I feel like we were at 1st and 10. We didn't get a lot of information. I feel like we just took a sack. How are we going to get back, and what is going on with that F500, right?
Well, yeah,
What's the deal with that?
Yeah, absolutely. That's actually a very good question. I thought I answered that question on multiple occasions and multiple press releases through shareholder updates. The reality is that the vehicle was tested. They came back and said, look, these are things that we want in order for us to be comfortable to continue and progress to the purchase order and subsequent purchase of these vehicles. And we said, sure, we're going to accommodate you. You tell us to jump, we say how high. So one of those things that was a concern of our customer is the fact that the pack, right? They wanted better range, a better reliability.
So they wanted some adjustments made during the pilot
absolutely.
program?
That's the reason for the 80 kilowatt hour pack. Well, we primarily tripled the capacity of the pack, and we moved quickly. We were working on it anyway, so we moved the vehicles to California.
Right.
And, we integrated an 80 plus kilowatt hour pack into the vehicles, and they're currently being tested.
When does that kind of testing period kind of end then, right? Because you said you had the pilot program, you made some adjustments based on feedback that they gave you, if I understand your words correctly. And now we're back in the, hey, making sure they're happy with it. When do you expect?
They're anxiously waiting. They believe it or not, they call us on a regular basis wanting to know, when are they going to be coming back, because they want to validate the changes we've made. And one of the things, in all fairness, is they were really concerned about safety. And just so let me be clear, typically and I'll use UPS as an example. Their vehicles don't have to be certified for airbags because they're a one passenger vehicle. And you've noticed, you'll see that your typical UPS driver has the one driver's seat, and then there's just a open area where a passenger would be. And they do that to avoid having to homologate and provide airbags. And we could have done that as well, like most of the guys do in that space, and we chose not to.
Well,
we went for safety, and we made sure that the vehicles were going to have airbags. Now, we're not going to have a passenger seat, but we're going to have a control center with a computer mounted system where they can have a workstation with a computer, a phone, and all the things that they would need to communicate with dispatch. But the truck's going to be very, very safe.
Sure.
And we mean, we're shooting for the highest standards, right? As far as certification and homologation.
And we'll get to see that in the future, I'm sure, with PRs. And I really do apologize because I have so many questions and the chat wants to hear more as well. So please, apologies on my end for that. But look, I'm going to ask one question about the F500. Then let's move on to other topics. There's a lot of discussion as well. Are you able to today give us a name of what that company is, the order size, and all that stuff? Or are we waiting for a future press release?
I would love to, but I would probably lose the order by explicit instruction.
Sure.
And under NDA, we were specifically told because of the size of the company and the type of.
So it's because of an NDA that you're not able to speak on that at the moment, but you do hope to have a press release later this month or whenever that may be.
Well, what I am going to say, right? We are going to deliver the vehicle per their instructions. They're going to test it, and then they're going to give us the green light to put out a PR with their purchase order. And I believe, people are going to be real happy. We worked really hard. Listen, this is nothing that just happened overnight. We have been working with this company for over a year. They have visited our offices. Their president has been here. We've been down to their facilities. There's been constant communication. They've performed a test. And they came back and they said, look, I will say this.
Sure.
Before they decided to work with us, they had engaged with several other EV companies prior to us and had committed to buying vehicles and never got vehicles. And this is a fact where they got burned, where they gave deposits and then, didn't get their money or didn't get the vehicles, and what they got was basically, hey man, we can't do it, we're sorry. And so they've gone down that path one too many times, and even with some OEMs. And as class ones are really unavailable since Nissan pulled out of the market. So with us, obviously we're the recipient of the other people's failures to perform. So now we have to take the extra steps and initiative to make them feel comfortable. They're fully supportive. They call on a regular basis. They want to know, when they can, get the vehicles, and they're hoping that the adjustments we make are consistent with, their demands. And then we have the green light. We can shoot off the PR that we've had ready now, for months.
Let's talk about the So you've got the PR ready. Hopefully you're able to release that quick. We've got about 7 minutes here. Let's pivot back over to the ATVM loan, right? On April 29th, we talked about you filing that, and then you said you expected to hear something back in August, and then we go from this complete stage to the conditional commitment, all that stuff. But it's August now. What update do you have regarding that loan? And then I've got a couple more questions that we can move forward to.
So as I stated, right, typically with this program, and it's public knowledge, I mean, this is a very lengthy process. And then I told everyone out there when we announced that we had filed that application, and that goes for everybody, that this is a process that the U.S. government goes through, and this process could take years. Now, the last time that they approved a deal was about a decade ago. So they're very, very frugal in how they do this, and I explained the process. They have to invite you to submit. You just can't unilaterally go submit. So you go through a ton of due diligence before you're allowed to submit, and you're invited to submit, which we were invited to submit, and we submitted. We have to wait, and I know that we talk to them on a regular basis. They ask a lot of questions, and you try to move to the next step. The next step is called substantially complete. We are not there yet.
And it takes about 12 to 18 months to go to conditional commitment. I remember us talking about that.
Well, I look at Tesla from the time that they submitted their AVTM loan to the time they actually got it approved. And I think even with Tesla, it was a very long time. Yeah. So with us, right, we submitted, And when we get to the next step, if we get to the next step, which is called substantially complete,
Right.
then we got to work.
You'll
towards
update us.
Well, we got to
update
work
us on that, and we'll share that news. Now, I know we've got a couple more things about. Last question on my end, and then we'll kind of turn it over with a couple of more from the chat. Balance sheet, financial health is so key for a company, right? You mentioned Tesla a couple of times. We've seen Elon talk about how they almost went bankrupt, this and that. Nothing comes free in life. What you're trying to do here is not easy to do. It's not low budget. What's the financial health of your company looking like as of right now?
Well, we announced a PR not too long ago that we had over $61 million of cash on the balance sheet. We have additional capital, coming in. We're excited. We've spent more money in this last quarter than we've ever had in R&D and advancing our initiatives across the board. We're making progress. We're not, knock on wood, we're excited that, things are working out extremely well for us. We're not being affected by any of the issues that some of these SPAC guys, when they initially came in with a big bang with a bunch of money, now that they're realizing that as they burn through their capital, it's a lot harder for them to raise capital in this particular environment because, one, they're not, shelf eligible because of the type of deals that they went into. On the other hand, we came in slow. We're I like to tell people it's like the tortoise and the hare, right? We came in, right, not a lot of attention. We were slow, and we're now the guy that's picking up steam, picking up momentum, and we're moving at a quick pace. So
let's talk about momentum then, right? Because we've got a couple of minutes here, and I want to turn it over to what folks can expect in the future. Because you're saying, hey, we're in the momentum phase. We went ahead and had that pilot program, made some adjustments, made everything better, and we're waiting for the feedback and things like that. What can our viewers and investors and potential investors expect from you in the future? The floor is kind of yours to speak to the 3,000 people watching now and the thousands later that are going to recap this. It's all you.
Well, I want to start by thanking everyone for being on this program and taking the opportunity to waste, not wasting anybody's time, but I'm going to get right into it. We're real confident that we're going to be one of the guys that makes it to the finish line. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of people, it's like a horse race. Everyone's out there trying to get to the finish line. Well, what does the finish line really mean? It means not just the fundamentals of generating revenue, getting product into the marketplace, but being able to have sustainability, building a network to support your product. We believe that we have the history, the experience, the knowledge, the team to be able to do that and to do it consistently. We've put processes in place across the board. We've hired some of the top-notch people from the space with hundreds of years of combined experience to do one thing, to make sure that this succeeds, and it succeeds on all fronts. We're very active. I've been working nonstop, not just on the different MULN projects from the Class 1 through Class 5 initiatives in the MULN 5, but I mentioned last time, and I'm surprised that you didn't key on it, but we said we were working on some pretty big opportunities, right? One of which we have been nonstop, literally, prior to getting on this conversation with you. We were on the phone for 3 hours with the lawyers on both sides of the spectrum on a deal that I'm very confident, and I've put myself in the hospital working this thing. I mean, endless hours going nonstop, from 7 a.m. Pacific to 12 a.m. Trying to get this thing to the finish line. And we're talking a ton of attorneys, accountants, auditors. I mean, this is, if we accomplish this, which I believe we will, and we will have an 8K and PR that will come out in the very near future. And if this completes, this will be a first of its kind. We are going to tip the entire EV space on its head.
Okay.
And, you will be interviewing me in the very near future, telling me how the hell did you guys do this?
Well, I look forward to that,
Oh,
David. I
but
look forward to that.
we are working feverishly
Yeah.
to accomplish this goal. This will change. This will change the complete dynamics of how people view the electric vehicle space and how they view Mullen in that space. But over and above all of the opening up of the Detroit facility, the Irvine facility, our battery development, then and our Monrovia facility in Monrovia, California, we're progressing. We're going to be able to produce 30,000 vehicle packs per year at that facility. When I said we're serious about scaling up, taking the solid state polymer cell and scaling that to the vehicle pack level, we were serious. We are now working towards that. So that facility will produce 30,000 packs per year.
Let's pick up here at another interview because I do have to get going here. But 8K coming out soon is what I heard from you. You're talking about me and you possibly having another interview. I really do look forward to that because I know we have a lot more to talk about as well. Hopefully the viewers,
keep the fingers crossed, but I feel 90% that we're going to announce something generational. We're excited, and for us, this is something that in this space at the independent level that we're all in, and that everyone other than the name of Tesla.
Sure.
This is going to be special. So
awesome.
We're excited. We're working towards that. Anything can happen, right? I mean, until
I look forward to that.
Until it's announced, anything can happen. But I do feel very confident. Again, we were on the phone for 3 hours, prior to getting on this, Zoom with you, and then we were, the last night we were on the phone till 11 p.m. Eastern, all of us, and then this has been going on now for a long time. So when you put together something at this level, when you put together something at this level, I mean, it's hard, it's complicated, and but when it does materialize, which it will, it changes everything. So we're excited, and with all the great things going on here at Mullen, we feel we are doing, we're creating change. This will be a paradigm shift. So we're excited.
I got producers in my ear, so I really do apologize for hurrying things up here. But David, I am hoping that this is not the last time you and I speak and you and I talk. I really do look forward to the 8K and any other PR releases that you're going to have. So stay tuned to Benzinga Pro for any of those updates. That is David, CEO of MULN is the ticker. Thank you again, David, for your time. And of course, for those that are still watching, I want to make sure that we make this, the disclaimer should be in the description, but just also make it very clear. This was not a paid interview that we just had for the past 20 minutes or so. The questions that I had were the questions that I wanted to ask and make sure we communicate that over to you as well. So this was not a paid interview, and hopefully the viewers got a chance to know what's good with the company and what they can expect in the future. What'd you think, Mitch? I know you've got another interview lined up as well. That'd be great.
You definitely hit every question there that I'm pretty sure everyone needed the answer to, and you tried to move it along. I appreciate you getting to it, and we'll have you back on, Zunaid. Appreciate you hopping on and knocking out this interview. Of
course, and best of luck to David and the whole company, and of course, all the investors there as well. I look forward to that generational news that hopefully we'll get soon. Take care, Mitch.
Thank you, Zunaid. All right, that's going to do it for Mullen. Now let's go towards energy. I know that it might not be exactly related, but it is kind of related. Let's go ahead. Let's bring on Rob Thummel here, portfolio manager and managing director at Tortoise Capital. Welcome on. How we doing, Rob?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm excited to talk about the bullish case for oil moving forward here. How do you see it? I know I was surprised yesterday with those inventory changes. Were you surprised?
Yeah, well, yesterday's report was a little bit abnormal, and I think that there's been concern about driving demand, right, and demand destruction because of high energy prices, in particular oil prices, and that might have filtered into some of the report yesterday. Although there's some questions about some of that reporting, but bigger picture, when you look at this bigger picture, global energy demand is back to pre-COVID levels. Global energy supply is not. And so we've had declining inventories for multiple months in a row. And so as we sit here today, specific to oil, we have low inventory, which usually when you have low inventory means prices are going higher. And then combine that with what OPEC said yesterday, where they believe that there's been a chronic underinvestment that's really leading to less spare capacity going forward. Those are the words directly from the largest oil producing nations in the world that provide probably 40% of the global oil supply. That to me those statements are all bullish for oil prices going forward.
Definitely. I know the supply issue that we have, right? I think what we need to see is some kind of demand come back also, right? I've been seeing that and kind of focusing to see if China's demand would really come back. Are you planning to see the demand really start coming back into oil to help, of course, the oil price? Of course, here at home, I don't think we want it to go higher, at least in the gas stations, but is that what is going to happen here that would cause the little spike there?
Well, we've kind of got the best of both worlds right now. We've had gasoline prices for us as consumers here in the U.S. decline probably 50 days in a row, and they're probably going to go down for several more days. And so that's all a positive for us as consumers, and that helps on the inflation front. You're right. The biggest, I guess, catalyst for oil prices going higher will be when demand in China returns. It's been very, it's declined. Well, it's leveled off. Let me say it's not as high in turn as it's been historically because of the lockdowns due to COVID. But eventually, those will end, and we'll see pretty substantial demand for oil in China because China is the largest consuming oil nation in the world. And so, is that going to be in 3 months, 6 months, 12 months? Not exactly sure, but in the next probably in my opinion in the next 6 to 9 months, you're going to see some pretty strong demand from China as well, and that will then once again bring some of that supply you're talking back to the market.
Now, definitely one of the recent things that we've had is the Inflation Reduction Act. How will this affect energy stocks?
Yeah, so no, I think this is obviously renewable stocks are going to do fantastic with the extensions of tax credits, and then in addition to that, some new energy technologies receiving some credits, things like sustainable aviation fuel, biofuels, carbon capture. But traditional energy actually is going to do well as well. From our perspective at Tortoise, we've always thought that if we're going to make progress in decarbonizing the world, the politicians have to, at some point, come together and realize that we need an all of the above approach. It just can't be one thing or the other. It has to be an and both, all of the above approach. And that's what appears to be the goal of this legislation. And so not only will renewables do well, wind and solar obviously will accelerate their growth, but pipeline development will accelerate as well. Liquefied natural gas export terminals on the Gulf Coast likely will be able to be approved and permitted faster, which means more U.S. natural gas, more natural gas infrastructure, and frankly, the more the better, because natural gas actually is very decarbonizing. It's decarbonized the U.S. If we take U.S. natural gas, run it through export terminals here in the U.S., and we ship it to places like China or India, where they're using a substantial amount of coal as their primary fuel supply. You displace natural gas, coal with natural gas, you substantially reduce your carbon emissions, and that's what needs to happen really throughout the world.
Now, of course, a lot of eyes are on what's going on with natural gas and the situation with Germany. Do you feel that there will be a total shutdown eventually of Nord Stream 1?
Yeah, I hope not. Eventually, so the way I would answer that is, obviously, Russian natural gas needs to be completely displaced, and it can be displaced and replaced by natural gas exports from the U.S. and Canada to Europe and Germany in particular. Just the U.S. just needs a couple more years to get the infrastructure in place, and frankly, Germany needs a couple more years to get their infrastructure in place to have that happen. In the meantime, in the short term, there are scenarios. If Nord Stream 1 ends up being completely shut off to Europe, and particular Germany, that Europe and Germany will run out of natural gas. They just simply won't have enough storage to make it through the winter. And that's obviously devastating for all of the citizens of those countries. So I hope that longer term, that Nord Stream 1 will no longer be needed, but in the short term, Europe is going to need some form of Nord Stream 1 to continue to operate in order to continue to heat homes and provide really basic life necessities.
All right, now let's take a look at a play that I know you've mentioned before, Cheniere Energy. How's that been performing? It's been a good rise there towards the 150, now pulling back here around the 145 level. How do you see this playing out into winter?
Yeah, so Cheniere, for perspective, talk about U.S. LNG exports. So the U.S. is the largest exporter of liquefied natural gas, in the world, and Cheniere itself is the largest exporter, individual company, pure play company, exporter of U.S. LNG exports. So it's a pure play U.S. LNG export play. It's basically got significant capacity. They just reported their earnings this morning. A couple years ago, they transformed from a construction company to an operating company. So as we sit here today, they're generating a substantial amount of free cash flow that will really drive the stock going forward, because the company is going to reduce their debt. They've started to pay a little bit of a dividend. They just announced a buyback in their press release this morning. They bought back $540 million worth of stock in one quarter, and talked about how that buyback could continue. So the company's laid out a free cash flow share or number of over $20 per share of free cash flow. I'll leave it to you what you think that should be capitalized at in terms of a free cash flow yield. For perspective, the free cash flow yield of the S&P 500 is 5%. So you take that 20, you divide it by whatever free cash flow yield you think a company like Cheniere warrants. You can kind of impute a share price for Cheniere that's generally higher than where it is today.
Love it, and I love you actually walking us through that. I appreciate that, Rob. I'm definitely going to have you back on as we continue to watch, of course, the oil trade moving into winter. I know it's the biggest thing on my eyes, so I'm going to be happy to have you back on, Rob. Look forward to us bringing you back. This is the portfolio manager and managing director at Tortoise Capital. We'll have you back, and I'll take a look at that LNG. It's been a pretty nice ride lately.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Rob. All right, guys, that's going to do it for us. We went a little bit extra time here. It's a 2:03, so I hope that you guys can smash the like button before we get on out of here. We're going to wrap on up. We had a great show today. That was definitely something else. If you guys enjoyed it today, let us know in the comments after the show what you guys liked or what you didn't like, or maybe something that caught your attention in that Mullen Automotive interview. Hit the comments after the show. Like always, we'll keep going here, right here on Benzinga. This is Stock Market Movers, where we cover all the headlines and get to the expert opinions. Today, we went to an expert in energy and also, of course, an automotive company, bringing in Mullen Automotive. That's going to do it for us. Today, we had some great topics. Also, it wasn't just only this. We talked about the new bull market, initial jobless claims, Coinbase, sector analysis. We took the look at Lucid, Fisker, Penn, Clorox, Lilly, and also, of course, talked about oil and natural gas. Where's that situation moving to? We'll be here, right here on Benzinga. And after this, you guys will have At the Close. That will be coming at 3:30. So definitely thumbs on up. We'll see you next time right here on Benzinga. And thank you, Zunaid, for coming on and knocking out that interview.